Hello everyone, welcome to HFY Beyond Terror. This channel is all about HFY and sci-fi stories, where humanity's underestimated and then proves...
Owen Brady had 12 minutes. That was all the atmospheric regulator would give him before it dumped the entire ventilation grid into emergency shutdown, and Sector 9 would become a panic-filled heat box for everyone on Level 14. He knelt beside the wall panel, its cover plate hanging by one stubborn screw. Inside, wires shivered beneath strobing diagnostic lights like nervous veins. Owen's fingers moved with practiced speed. 3 years assigned to Meridian Station's maintenance decks. 7 more before that on cargo ports where up to code meant not actively on fire. He knew aging systems the way some people knew music, how they pitched, how they hummed, how they protested. A warning chirp. He snapped a contact into place and felt the vibration settle, the machine's frantic tremor easing into a steady thrum. The panel emitted 2 satisfied beeps, then a long, calm tone. Life returned to the airflow. Pressure normalized. Temperature stabilized. Owen exhaled, wiped his brow with a sleeve already stained by coolant and dust, and clicked his toolkit shut. "Done," he muttered. Then he stepped into the corridor and stopped so suddenly his boot heels squealed against the floor. Because the corridor wasn't metal. It wasn't utilitarian station plating or ribbed traction grate. It was polished stone-dark marble threaded with pale veins like frozen lightning. The walls weren't bare alloy. They were lined with banners embroidered in shimmering thread. Light didn't come from overhead panels, but from suspended crystal lamps that refracted soft color into the air. He blinked hard. Then he checked his tablet. Sector 9, Level 14, Junction 42, exactly where he was supposed to be. Except Junction 42 wasn't supposed to look like the entrance to a palace. His stomach tightened. Then he remembered. Annual Coalition Gathering. Of course. Every cycle, Meridian transformed parts of its inner ring into ceremonial routes for visiting dignitaries. They rerouted service corridors, erected temporary halls, sometimes entire wings were redesigned overnight. And maintenance always found out last. A heavy thunk came from behind him. He turned just as the corridor doors sealed, locking in place with the finality of a vault. Automated lockdown. Ceremony security protocols. Owen stared at the sealed doors. Then he heard voices ahead. Not a few, hundreds, thousands. Languages folding into each other like waves, some melodic, some sharp, some that sounded like wind through glass. He had 2 options: wait here until lockdown lifted, or try to find a side exit before anyone noticed the grease-stained human in a restricted corridor. Waiting meant 3 hours and a disciplinary report. So he did the only sensible thing a maintenance worker trapped in the wrong place could do. He opened the inner doors and slipped inside. The Grand Assembly Hall was not built to impress. It was built to overwhelm. The ceiling rose so high he couldn't see its peak. Concentric rings of seating surrounded a central platform carved from dark crystal, its surface etched with faintly glowing symbols. Above, hanging prisms cast rainbows in slow motion, scattering light across hundreds of faces, beaks, mandibles, snouts, polished crystalline structures, eyes like liquid mercury. Species from across the coalition filled the tiers in clustered sections. Owen recognized several from safety briefings and station ID charts. The Vyrn, feathered and severe, their plumage arranged with obsessive precision. The Torque, bodies like living gemstone, limbs flickering with internal refraction. The Quinn, 4-armed and unnervingly still, eyes following everything with mathematical calm. And dozens more shapes too unfamiliar to name. Every single delegate looked like they belonged. Their attire carried rank markings and ceremonial patterns. Their posture alone suggested power. Then there was Owen, oil-smeared coveralls. Station-issued boots. a toolkit still clipped to his belt. His name patched Brady half covered by grime. He took one step and the room shifted. Heads turned. A whisper started near the entrance and spread like infection. Someone laughed. Not loud, just a sharp little sound. But in a hall this big, even a small laugh could travel. The laughter multiplied. Owen kept moving, shoulders tight, eyes scanning for an exit. There were none. Every door was guarded by security drones perched like silent insects along the walls. The only open space was at the back. One row. A long strip of empty seats no one wanted, too far from the platform, too far from influence. Owen slid into the farthest chair and tried to fold into himself. He stared forward. He willed his heartbeat to quiet. The delegates would forget him once the session began. They had bigger things to focus on than some lost maintenance worker. He almost believed that. Then the main doors opened again, and the entire hall fell silent as if someone had pulled sound out of the air. A figure stepped inside. Owen had seen images before, grainy recordings, warnings and diplomatic briefings. But those didn't prepare him for the reality. She was massive. Muscle moved under sleek fur, each step controlled, predatory. Golden eyes scanned the assembly with the casual authority of something that knew it, could kill anyone in the room and never fear consequences. A Panthros, rare, reclusive, notorious. Her name traveled through Meridian Station in half-jokes and nervous whispers. Dyra, one of only 3 Panthros ever to sit on the Coalition Council. The delegates gave her space without being told. Even the Torque leaned away. Even the Varen fell still. Dyra moved down the aisle like she owned gravity. She reached the back rows. Her gaze swept across empty seats, then locked onto Owen. His breath caught. His instincts screamed at him to bolt, but every human survival story had taught him the same thing. Predators chase what runs. Dyra walked toward him. Slow, deliberate. She stopped beside his seat. Then she sat down, right next to him. A ripple moved through the hall, shock, disbelief, confusion. Owen sat frozen. He could hear his own blood roaring. Dyra settled with effortless elegance, tail draped along the armrest between them. She faced forward as if nothing extraordinary had happened, as if she hadn't just detonated the room's social structure by choosing to sit beside a human in work clothes. Whispers rose again, this time sharper. A Varen delegate murmured loud enough to carry, "The predator chose well. It sits beside its fellow animal." A few laughs followed, nervous, not joyful. Owen's cheeks heated. Anger and shame tangled in his chest. Dyra's ear twitched. Her tail moved slowly, irritably. The signal was small, but unmistakable. She heard everything, and she didn't like it. The chief arbiter called the session to order. Speakers took the platform one by one, offering proposals with polished smiles and carefully structured arguments. Torque representative spoke of extraction operations in unclaimed fringe worlds. He described the 3 inhabited planets as beneficiaries of civilization. A Varen Guild leader proposed navigation stations, emphasizing a fee-based guidance service for lesser species. Owen's jaw clenched. He'd fixed air systems in refugee quarters. He'd seen what civilizing influence really meant. He kept his eyes forward. But the mockery didn't stop. It returned in waves. Then the Varen Guild leader paused mid-speech, feathers gleaming under the crystals. "And of course," he said, voice smooth as lacquer, "such stations will require support labor. Humans are remarkably suited for such basic maintenance tasks." He angled one wing toward Owen. "We appear to have a sample on site. Though I question the wisdom of allowing service workers into leadership assemblies. Security should escort our friend back to wherever he belongs." Laughter cracked through the hall. Applause followed. Owen felt his throat tighten. He started to rise. "I should go," he said, barely audible. "I'm causing." Dyra's tail slid across his lap, blocking his movement without touching him. She didn't look at him. "Stay," she said. Her voice was low, deep, and it carried like a bell. Owen stopped. The Varen delegate's smile faltered. Dyra's claws extended. The sound of talons scraping metal cut through the laughter like a knife. The entire hall went dead silent. Dyra stood. She unfolded to her full height, towering above the platform in 2 steps. Golden eyes fixed on the Varen speaker. "I chose this seat," she said. Her voice did not rise. It didn't need to. "I would hear why you insult my judgment." The Varen delegate's feathers fluffed in panic. "Honored Panthros, I intended no offense to you, only to the human. Surely you understand humans contribute little. Weak bodies. Short lifespans. Primitive technology. No natural weapons." He spread his wings in a polite gesture. "They belong in service roles. Useful hands, not leading minds." Murmurs of agreement. A few nods. Owen stood before he could stop himself. His boots sounded too loud on the polished floor. His coveralls felt like a public crime. "I'm not a diplomat," he said quietly. "I fix air filters. I repair wiring. I'm not—" "Speak," Dira said. "One word. Command, not request." Owen swallowed. He faced the room. "Earth is classified as a Category 9 death world," he said. "Most of you know that. But you don't survive Earth by being the strongest individual. You survive by depending on each other, by protecting each other, by pulling strangers out of disasters because one day you'll be the one trapped." The Varen delegate clicked his beak. "Sentiment. Give me proof?" "One concrete example of human superiority." Dyra answered instead. "I will give you several." Dyra stepped onto the platform. She turned slowly, letting every species see her. "3 cycles ago," she began, "I was hunting on an unclaimed frontier world. I fought another of my kind. I won." A hush moved through the hall. Panthros territorial fights were the stuff of nightmares. "I was poisoned," Dira continued. "Too weak to hunt. Too weak to travel. Dying." She paused. "A human survey team found me." The Varen delegate tilted his head. "And?" "They treated me," Dira said. "They shared supplies. Gave rations. Used their medicine. Asked for nothing. Expected nothing." A few delegates shifted. Some leaned forward. "I spent 3 cycles afterward watching humans," Dira went on. "Not in speeches. In practice. In disaster. In crisis." She gestured toward the torque section. "On mining world K447, 3 torque workers were trapped after a collapse. Their supervisors sealed the tunnel because the rescue was not profitable. Human contractors defied orders and went in anyway. They saved all 3. They returned to work without demanding payment." Murmurs spread. Delegates pulled up data on tablets.dyra turned toward the Varen. On Medical Station Horizon 9, a plague ship arrived. 90% fatality. Station authorities refused treatment. Human doctors treated the infected anyway. 73 survived. More murmurs. More tablets.dyra faced the full assembly. On Research Outpost Gamma 14, a multi-species crew was abandoned during a solar storm. Coalition Command labeled them lost. A human merchant vessel diverted weeks off course and searched until they found the crew alive. 14 researchers, 5 species. All rescued. The chief arbiter spoke carefully. "These accounts are compelling, but isolated incidents do not establish a pattern. A Quinn analyst rose. I have data, he said. 47 cycles of incident reporting. In multi-species emergencies where humans are present, they intervene at the highest rate. 68%. The hall shifted, the kind of shift that happened when belief started replacing habit, and then a Torque elder stood. I was in the K-447 collapse, she said. I remember the humans giving us the protective gear. I remember a human named Riley carrying me through collapsing tunnels. A Varen survivor stood. I was on that plague ship, she said. A human doctor held my hand while I was dying. He recited poetry in my language to keep me awake. Quinn researcher stood. A human crew rationed. Oxygen for weeks to keep us alive during transport. Testimony stacked on. Testimony. The mockery evaporated. The Varen delegates. Confidence began to fracture. He tried again. Fine, humans are kind. Perhaps they are even useful. But kindness is not leadership. The galaxy is built on power, strategy, and resources. Humans have none. Dira stepped closer. You still misunderstand, she said softly. Then she turned to the whole room. The Panthros Conclave offers formal alliance to humanity. Silence detonated into chaos. Delegates leapt up. Shouting. Arms FLAILED. Wings snapped open. Crystalline bodies flashed. The Arbiter activated dampeners, cutting sound down to a thick quiet. Dira remained still. Her eyes swept the room. Our alliances are rare, she said. We choose them for one reason: trust. She gestured to the delegates. Every species in this hall has betrayed an ally when convenient. Broken contracts. Abandoned defenses. Sold partners for advantage. That is politics. Her tail moved slowly. In 3 cycles of investigation, I found humans honoring agreements even when it cost them. They kept promises even when breaking them would benefit them more. The Quinn analyst projected new data. Human contract violation rates are 87% lower than coalition average. The Varen delegate tried to recover, but humans cannot defend themselves. Trust without strength is meaningless. Dira smiled very slightly. How many wars have the Panthros fought in the last century? The hall went still. None. Everyone knew why. Because attacking Panthros is suicide, Dira said calmly. That reputation prevents war. She stepped back. I now extend that reputation to humanity. A chill moved through the room. The implication was immediate. Harm humans. And you invite Panthros retaliation. The Varen delegate swallowed. Still. He tried one last angle. Then make humans official helpers. A servant class. It recognizes their strengths, without granting them leadership. Dira's eyes sharpened. You would reward their honor by chaining them. Owen spoke, his voice surprised even him. If humans are nothing, he said, why are you so afraid of letting us be seen? The room went quiet. The Arbiter looked down at Owen. You have sat through this entire session, the Arbiter said. Do you wish to speak on behalf of your species? Owen stepped onto the platform. Toolkit still at his belt, coveralls still stained. He looked like a man who repaired broken systems. And now he was being asked to repair something much bigger. I didn't come here to represent humanity, Owen said. I came here to stop an air regulator from killing people. That's what humans do. We fix what breaks. We show up when things go wrong. He looked across the delegates. We're not the strongest. We're not the smartest. But we build bridges. We learn your languages. We learn your customs. We don't do it to control you. We do it because connection keeps people alive. He swallowed. On Earth, survival was never an individual achievement. It was communal, and we brought that into the stars. The arbiter nodded slowly, then let us vote. The vote was overwhelming, only 3 against. When it concluded, the arbiter announced, by majority decision, humanity is granted full coalition membership effective. Immediately. Owen stood there feeling like the air had changed, like gravity itself had shifted. Arbiter tilted his head. Owen Brady, do you accept on behalf of your species? Owen blinked hard. I'm maintenance. The arbiter's mouth curved in something like humor. You are now both. Owen nodded. Double quotes, yes, he said. We accept. Later, after the hall emptied, Owen sat again in the back row. Ria sat beside him. As if the entire event had always been meant to end this way. I should get back to work, Owen said. Will you still fix air regulators? Dara asked. Owen gave a tired, honest smile. Someone has to keep this station from falling apart. Dara's tail swished amusement. He'd learned. Good, she said. The galaxy needs repairers more than it needs rulers. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Owen asked quietly, that survey team you mentioned, did you ever learn their names? One, Dara said. The leader, Brady. Owen went still. Riley Brady, he whispered. That's my cousin. Dara's eyes gleamed. Small galaxy, she said. Owen laughed, half disbelief, half relief. She never told me she treated a Panthros. She will, Dara said. Tell her I remember. Tell her the Leopard honors her debts. Owen stood, tool belt clinking softly. I will. He paused at the doorway and looked back. Ria remained in her seat, golden eyes on the empty chamber. The apex predator had chosen to sit beside the nobody. And together, they had made the coalition see humans clearly. Tomorrow, Owen would return to filters and wiring, but tonight he had helped fix something that had been broken for a very long time.